Welcome back to the Centered on Buffalo podcast. We're joined by Bills defensive tackle DaQuan Jones. DaQuan, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. How's the off season going so far? You been doing any traveling or anything?
Yeah, me and the wife just got back from Napa Valley Sunday
Nice.
afternoon, and that was really fun. I enjoyed that. It was my buddy's wife's birthday, and went out there and celebrated that. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you a red wine or white wine guy?
I'm fairly new to the game, but I started out liking white, but as my taste kind of progressed, I'm in love with red wine right now. So,
Yeah. They'll we went in like 2012. We're dying to go back. Maybe not 2012. No, like 2015 we went and we're dying to go back, but me and my wife went out there. We didn't know a whole lot about wine. Then we came back and we thought we were experts doing the little swirl and all that.
yeah,
So yeah, so you'll know what to do next time you're out at a nice dinner. Now you'll know the bottles. You'll be requesting the Napa Cabs and the Napa Pinots and all that. How's the body feeling at this point?
pretty good. I mean, not too bad going to year 11. A lot of people ask me like, you still playing or how's your? I'm like, dude, like, I feel good. I mean, to be playing the position I play, like, I really have no complaints, man. I feel like I've been blessed to stay healthy for this long. Had a little hiccup last year, but other than that, man, like, I feel good, man.
That's good. That's good. Where do you train at in the off season?
Here in Nashville,
Nice.
yeah, I
Nice.
got I
Yeah.
got a trainer I've been working with around 2020, and it's kind of just changed my whole just kind of preparation for the season, and it's been working great for me. So I'm gonna keep it up.
Yeah. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So
Exactly,
no,
exactly.
no, that's good. Yeah, you mentioned that little hiccup during the season last year. You tear your
Hmm.
pec out in London. I
Yeah,
mean, you were off to an incredibly hot start to the season. The week before, you dominate on the interior against the Dolphins, and then you tear that pec in week 4 against the Jaguars in London. How tough was that? And was your mindset initially? I know you were able to come back later in the season, but was your mindset initially whatever it takes to get back this season?
yeah. I mean that was a blow, man. 'Cause I'm like, I was playing good. You're getting that rhythm as a player, and the game week before against Miami, I felt it kind of just start going and rolling. Um, but man, that just sucked. And to go through that, like I didn't know what to do at that point. I'm like, well damn, year 10, to my peg, I'm probably done for me. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty dark for me, and I was like, it's getting ready for pretty much retirement. I mean, you think about all that stuff in the 48 hours after. I thought, all right, well, I go see a doctor. I know it's completely torn. I could feel it, and when I went to the doctor's office in New York with Dr. Cardasco, he was like, you actually come back and play because you tore just like the tendon, not the actual pec itself. I'm like, are you sure? And he goes, yeah. And after I heard that, like I was, my mood did a whole 180, and I was confident, and I was like, all right, whatever I gotta do to pour into this and get my body, right, I'm gonna do it. And hats off to Joe Mika and the training staff because they did an unbelievable job with me and just being patient with me and helping me understand the process of what it takes to get back. And some days are rough, man. Some days are better than others, and not really knowing what's going to happen and just putting your trust in someone else is a crazy experience. I never had to do that to come back, and I appreciate them boys more than they know.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with Joe in 2016. He came to the Bills later in my career. 2016, I broke my leg on Monday Night Football out in Seattle, so we spent a whole lot of
Ooh,
time together that
man.
offseason. And
Mm,
he's excellent what he does, and I always love when the guys give Joe a shout out in the media because he deserves it. He's
yeah.
great at what he does. He's behind the scenes a lot of times, but he's the reason that a lot of guys are out there able to perform as well as they are each and every week because of him and the entire staff's dedication in that training room. So
Hmm.
shout out Joe Mika on the
Yo,
podcast.
me.
And then yeah, he's the best. He's the best. So I've never done a pec before. I know when you come back from other injuries, you're always a little hesitant. Like that first time you go to like separate from an offensive lineman or go to reach out and make a tackle, was there a little bit of hesitancy there, or did you know you were good?
You know what? I had to flush that thought process of, well, the timidness of going out there and not really, because I felt like I would get hurt not just throwing it. You know what I mean? If I try to,
Right.
50% it or like not try to throw it, it's gonna get caught in a weird position. So it was like a couple days leading up to it. I'm like, dude, like let's put some pads on, and see if I can hit somebody or something. Like let's see what we can do. And they go, no, you gotta wait. And so whenever that first moment came where I could put pads on and just strike, like I think with New England, like it was a bump reach, which is probably one of the hardest blocks to get at the nose. And I knew it was coming. I'm just gonna go. And I knocked the hell out the center and knocked him back, and we all got in on the tackle. And after that, I kind of didn't even think about it. I was like, all right, now, like I punched with it. I gave it all I got. I felt nothing. Like let's roll. So after that, I really didn't think about it again.
That's good. That's a good feeling when you know you're back. And
Yeah,
I've also been out there on the field before where you're like, "Ooh, that knee doesn't quite feel right now."
yeah.
And then you're just trying to do anything you can to get through that game. But the only time I was trying to look it up, I think the only time that we faced off in our career was 2015, I believe, down in Tennessee. Tyrod Taylor. At quarterback for the Bills. We go down, we get a 14-13 victory, but I'm not going to sit here and brag about this offensive performance because I looked it up. We had 206 total yards, but we score on back-to-back possessions to end the game. Tyrod threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and after he tore his MCL, I love my boy Greg Roman, but he threw a throwback to Tyrod and he gets hit right before the goal line with a torn MCL. I'm like, what are we like? I know that was a red zone shot for us, and we thought we felt good about it, but maybe call off the dogs on the shot play at the end. But you got any memories from that game back then?
Actually, I do. I think I got a good little hit on Tyrod. I was like a four eye, like looping out to the left, and I beat who was the right tackle? I can't remember the right
Jordan
tackle.
Mills.
Yeah. I beat him with a little club and hit Tyrod only through it. But I actually remember a couple good plays from that game, man. Like it's funny. When I was in Napa, I was with that entire starting front, and we always talk about games all the time. And that game actually came up because me and Wesley Woodyard had a play where we would talk about just gap changing and kind of just playing off each other. And it was a run play to our left, and with a double team, he came down here and smacked the running back, and it was a great play. But it's funny how all that kind of comes together because we were just talking about the 2015 season.
Yeah, that's funny. Quick shout out to our
Man,
sponsor, Prime, best sports drink on the planet. Also, my kids' favorite sports drink. So, for all you parents out there, it's a pretty clean product. So, don't feel too bad about your kids down in some Prime. I know my kids love it. All right, so I got to ask this. As a one technique, do
mhm.
you revel in eating up double teams, or do you just wait for the chance for you to get a one on one and try and beat somebody into the backfield?
For me, it's kind of like that. I'm very prideful when it comes to that, like because I feel like if you try to block me one on one, I take it as disrespect. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be able
Yeah,
to reach me or to cross my face without getting help from that guard. So when I get a double team, like I make it a mission for me not to move. I don't like to give ground. I think if you give more than a yard, you lose. And in Tennessee, we we had a bad habit of finding each other if you got moved back 2 yards off the ball. So like it really made me hone in on my technique of leveraging and hand placement and being strong at the point of attack. And I really take pride if I get double team coming on like to not move, and if I can split it. And if I could just ragdoll that center, I'm gonna do so. It kind of just I don't know, it gets me going. All right, it's kind of weird to be excited about double teams, but I really look forward to them and enjoy them.
Yeah. So as a center, I would always feel like, I'm not the weak link on this line. I don't need the double teams all the time. And like as a center, you're getting double teams a lot. So when I
Mhm.
would get those one-on-ones, like, all right, I got to put on film that I'm not just a dude that can, drive a guy off the ball if I got two guys with me, or can only win in pass pro if that guard's got his hand on him. So it's funny. You're taking pride in that. So it's like when those one-on-ones do happen, the center's like he's trying to show his stuff, and then you're
Yeah.
also doing the same. When you look at a center matchup, and I know everybody's different, but
Mhm.
would you rather go against a bigger center or a guy that's smaller and quicker? Like, which one for you is
Ooh.
your preferred matchup?
Uh, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like they both have their kind of pros and cons. Like when you go a smaller guy, like you might be able to like kind of overpower him easily, but like they're just in better condition. I mean, they play every snap, right? And they're doing this pulling stuff, and every now and then they might catch you in the reach and like, mom. And then the bigger guys, like they're a little slower, lug footed, pass pro, need a little more help. Hmm.
Sounds like
I'll
you like
talk.
going against the bigger guys better.
Yeah, I think the bigger guys, they kind of struggle more to move to their non-snapping hand. So they're left, they're a little slower going that way, just to whip their head around. But probably, yeah, I'd probably say bigger guy. The more I think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. I liked going against a bigger slug. Like when I entered the league, everyone was playing that 3-4 defense. And
Hmm.
heck, in our division with the Bills, it was Will Fork, it was Chris Jenkins, it was Paul Soliai. None of those dudes were less than 350 pounds. So I got used to playing against bigger dudes, kind of get your guy in a phone booth. You know, you're
Hmm.
probably not going to get beat off the snap into the backfield. And I got used to that. And then as my career went on, defenses started getting smaller and smaller. It's like, okay, now we got to adjust to these dudes that are athletes, guys like yourself that, you might be 310. You got the quickness to beat you up the field. You also have the power to go through you. Like those guys to me were so much harder to prepare for than a guy
Hmm.
where that only kind of had a one way to beat you. If a guy's too small, you get your hands on him, he's done. And then
Hmm.
those guys that are so big, it's like, okay, I know this guy doesn't have a lot of wiggle. I will say this, and I thought this guy was one of the best nose guards I went against. I say those guys that are 350 don't have any wiggle, but then early in his career, Rex comes over from the Jets and he's got Damon Harrison, who was on their practice squad the year before. And so we're playing the Jets the first game of the season. There's not a lot of film on the preseason. And Rex is like, dude, Damon Harrison, you're gonna whoop him. He was on our practice squad last year. Well, I don't know if he got a whole lot better if Rex was setting me up, but I came to the sideline that first series. I was like, dude, this guy's quick and he's enormous. And then
Yeah.
a couple years later, he was the highest paid nose guard in the league
Yeah.
when he went over the Giants. But guys that got that serious size and serious quickness, those guys are a handful too. So
Yeah.
you got the chance to play. You were mentioning in Tennessee, like there was some about getting 2 yards out the ball. I'm assuming that's Vrabel hit, getting on you guys in meetings. You've gotten to play for two really good head coaches in Sean McDermott and Mike Vrabel. When you think about their personalities, what's similar about them that makes them both great coaches?
I would say knowledge of the game. I think people would be surprised how many. I mean, a coaching staff is comprised of so many people, right? And the fact that them two can tell you details of the game without relying on someone else is a testament to their study and their love for the game. Um, I've been around coaches who would need an X, Y, and Z coach to explain different parts of the game, different situations of the game, and these two dudes can kind of just rattle them off to you. And I think that's just a huge testament to the love of the game. And what that comes down to is always being ready in those tough situations of knowing how to manage the game. And it's like the weirdest situation in the game where like you need the ball back, but the time everyone's like, "Well, what are you doing?" No one understands it, but the coaches and the players do. 'Cause they brief us for that week prior, and every time you talk about something during the week, it always pops up on Sunday. And so if a situation
Right.
comes up we're talking about, come Sunday, it's gonna happen. I don't know why. The football guy is like, "Hey, we're gonna just teach you this lesson," and then people be like, What's going on?" And it's just moments like that are what separate the great coaches of just understanding the game and be able to put your team in the best position.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you like Sean enough to want to come back and play for him again. You said it's kind of wild for me to hear you talking about, get hurt in London and thinking maybe this is it for me,
Yeah.
in year 10, and then you sign a nice 2-year deal with the Bills this offseason. What led to your decision to want to come back and continue playing in Orchard Park?
Yeah, I mean, it came down to just my relationships with everybody in that building. I mean, you've been up there. I mean, these guys they're great. They're one of a kind coaching staff, one of a kind team. I mean, everyone on that team is um, so nice, and there's really no ego. I mean, the thing about the player that you have over there, within that locker room, everyone gets along, everyone loves each other. You don't find that everywhere. And then again, Sean and how he gets his team ready to play is just, one of a kind. You can't really find that anywhere. And me just being comfortable in the system and be able to be with a like-minded coach of how I approach the game and how he wants the game being played, it was kind of like a match made in heaven.
That's great to hear. So you're going to have a new defensive line coach this year in Marcus West. I know you've worked with him in the past. What can Bills fans expect from what he brings to the table?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get up there and kind of just, chat with him more, but just work with him on the side. And, as a player, you kind of lean on your assistant coaches a lot because of the position coach or the head position coach is always busy, talking to the main group or getting something ready for the meetings or for the game. And so we built a great relationship over the last 2 years. And I love his knowledge of the game as well. I think it matches up with what that team and coaching staff like to do. And I'm excited to see what his whole philosophy is. Everyone comes in there with a whole, this is what I want to do. I want to go do going forward. So honestly, I'm excited to go up there in April and kind of learn that and see what he wants and see what he's expecting from his guys, and I'll take from there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. I often see you get a great jump on the snap. And from that one technique I know as a center, when that guy's jumping the snap real quick, that makes it really difficult on you because you start to play with your one hand between your legs. So now you're behind the eight ball there. Are you often going off of cadence? Are you going off of maybe a lean in the offensive line or maybe a motion? What's triggering your fast get
He
off?
don't put this out there. Um,
Or you don't have to give away
yeah.
the secrets, but is it different team to team? Because I asked this because even Kyle Williams would
Mm,
say it publicly. He's like sometimes it's a snap count, sometimes a quarterback's got like a little hitch in his heel. Sometimes
mhm.
that offensive lineman that's getting ready to pull, he gets that little bit of lean before the snap, so then he knows that guy's
Yeah.
going, so I can go too.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to really two things. I'm a film junkie. I love watching film, and there's always like a little delay no matter where the center goes. I always look for by the time. I mean, it's like a second, right? But what does that second look like between when that center hikes the ball and which way he goes? So, for example, if a center's going to his right, if he's a right-handed snapper, he's going to his right. He tends to be a little more quicker with that, snapping and going, and then dipping that left shoulder. And for me, it's like, okay, if I can time it up where, I can get my hand on that shoulder. I mean, the dude has no power, right? And then
Right.
switch it up, go the other way. The same way, a lot of guys take a deeper bucket step, and it's like that delay. Some guys are quick at snapping and coming up with that hand, so now I got to worry about trying to knock the hand down, or he's snapping really trying to get it up there, but his whole shoulder, whole chest is exposed. So I really try to look for, before a snap, like formation, obviously, which way they're going to go. And then knowing what that guy likes to do, if he's slow with his hand, it kind of makes me want to give the ball a little more. And then, really, too, the key to the good get off is kind of just working on anticipation. Like, how quickly can you move on a sudden? I mean, as soon he ain't bobbing his head and coming up, I'm going. Like as soon as I see that chest come up or move, I'm off the ball. So like as soon as he move, I move. And I think people we so busy watching the ball where like that ball is gone and you're kind of missing the guy moving already. So when you move, I'm moving. If we're off sides, we're both off sides. So that's how I
Yeah.
break down the game and play the one.
That's good stuff. Listen to you talk about the center and whether he's quicker right or left. I wish if I was still playing, I wish I could have you breaking that down for me as my teammate saying, hey, this is what they're looking at. Here's what the tendencies I see in you. You're always pretty good at self scouting, but sometimes, someone else can help you break that down.
Yeah.
Last little thing I want to talk to you about before I let you go. I
Mhm.
see pictures of these card games weekly where it's like you and Gabe and Dawson and some guys on the team playing cards. I'll
Yeah.
say this: when I was with the Bills, I ran the card game on the plane every time we traveled. So I brought the chips because Sean didn't ever want to see cash out on the plane. So I would bring the chips, and Sean would ask how much are the chips worth. I'd say a quarter. And I'd say, "Don't worry about it, Sean. No one's gonna get in a fight back here. We're not playing for that much money." But tell me
Yeah.
about these card games. One, I think it's awesome that y'all get together and do that on a weekly basis. But tell me
Mhm.
about these card games. Like who's the best one, and what games are you guys playing?
Man, we play poker, but Gabe's by far the best player. I mean, he kicked all of our butts all last year. But yeah, I mean, it started out, we're playing poker. He came up to me one day. He goes, like, "You play poker?" I'm like, "I love poker. Like, I used to play all the time." He goes, "Well, I'm gonna start doing poker nights at my house." And it started going from once a week to twice a week, and then we could squeeze in three. We would do it. Um, but the amount of people that would show up there, and even if they didn't play, just hang out was amazing. And again, you don't get that everywhere. I mean, it was offense, defense, it was O line, it was mix and match, and they have everyone over there. And I mean, that builds chemistry off the field. I feel like a lot of guys give up on that because I feel like that really translates to on the field. You know what I mean? You kind of have a deeper trust with your fellow teammate, and just it takes that to a whole nother level, I believe. But I mean, it was great. I mean, we played all the time. I loved it. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got the deal he wanted. So now we have to figure out where we're gonna go this year and play.
Yeah, you might need to host it, and you got a nice little contract. Maybe you could put a little poker room in at the house, get you something set up, and
Nah, nah. I got me like a little small house in Buffalo. I can't fit it. Maybe go to like Dawson Knox house, something like that. Like
yeah,
maybe even Josh. Josh want to host?
yeah, we'll
Josh
get
knows.
that done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Josh should host. He should host. That'd be that's what a quarterback should do. He should get that done. DaQuan, I appreciate the time. Make sure everybody tunes in. A couple days we'll be releasing the final three questions with DaQuan, so we'll have some fun with that. DaQuan, thank you for the time, brother, and enjoy the rest of the offseason.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.